Title: The Hunter's Vow. In the heart of Titan City, where skyscrapers pierced the sky and corruption festered beneath, one name struck fear into the underworld: Viktor Malikov. A former warlord turned crime kingpin, Malikov's reach extended through every criminal enterprise, from human trafficking to weapons smuggling. No one dared oppose him. Until now. Ethan Drake had spent years hunting the worst of humanity. A former Special Forces operative, he had seen men like Malikov rise and fall, but this time, it was personal. Malikov had ordered the hit that took Ethan's family from him. The system had failed, the law had turned a blind eye. Justice would have to be delivered by his own hands. For 2 years, Ethan prepared in silence, tracking Malikov's operations, dismantling them piece by piece. Tonight, the final act of his vendetta would begin. The target, a heavily guarded compound on the outskirts of Titan City, Malikov's main hub for laundering money and storing illegal arms. Dressed in tactical gear, Ethan approached the compound under the cover of darkness. He had studied every security rotation, every blind spot. The first guard never saw the knife coming, his body hitting the ground without a sound. Moving swiftly, Ethan neutralized 3 more before reaching the perimeter fence. Inside, the compound was alive with activity. Malikov's enforcers, dressed in tactical vests, patrolled the grounds, unaware that their night was about to turn into a bloodbath. Ethan infiltrated the main building, planting explosives at key structural points. His real objective was Malikov's personal command center. If he could get to the crime lord before security realized what was happening, he could end it all in one swift strike. Reaching the top floor, Ethan burst into the lavish office, gun raised. Malikov, a towering figure with scars from battles long past, stood behind a mahogany desk, flanked by 2 bodyguards. "I was wondering when you'd show up," Malikov said, a smirk playing at his lips. "You've been quite the nuisance." Ethan didn't hesitate. A quick double tap to the chest dropped the first guard, while the second lunged at him with a combat knife. They grappled, fists and steel flashing in the dim light. Ethan drove his knee into the man's ribs before slamming his head into the desk, knocking him out cold. Malikov clapped slowly. "Impressive." Ethan leveled his weapon at the crime lord. "This ends tonight." Malikov chuckled. "You think killing me will change anything? There's always another monster waiting to take my place." Ethan pulled the trigger. As Malikov's body hit the floor, Ethan activated the detonator, sending fire and destruction ripping through the compound. The Empire had fallen. But Ethan knew his war wasn't over. There were more monsters to hunt. And he had just begun. Title: Retribution Protocol. The neon-lit streets of Nova City pulsed with life, but beneath the glitz and glamour, darkness thrived. The city belonged to Damian Voss, a ruthless cybercriminal who ruled with an iron fist, orchestrating assassinations, smuggling high-tech weapons, and controlling every illicit network. No one had ever challenged him and lived to tell the tale until now. Logan Pierce had been a ghost for years. Once a top-tier agent in an elite government strike force, he was betrayed, framed for treason, and forced into hiding. But he never stopped watching, never stopped gathering intel. Voss had been behind it all: the lies, the conspiracy, the destruction of everything Logan had fought for. Now, the time for vengeance had come. Tonight, Logan would bring it all crashing down. His target, a heavily fortified data center in the heart of Nova City, where Voss stored the digital keys to his empire. If Logan could destroy the servers and extract vital intel, Voss would be exposed. Dressed in an adaptive stealth suit, Logan infiltrated the high-rise complex, evading security drones and biometric scanners. Moving like a shadow, he disabled guards with swift, precise strikes. Within minutes, he was inside the core server room. A countdown had already begun. He had triggered a silent alarm. Voss's elite security force, clad in cutting-edge combat armor, descended upon the facility. Logan welcomed the fight. The first wave of mercenaries fell to his expert marksmanship, bullets finding their targets with deadly accuracy. A towering enforcer, clad in mechanized armor, charged at Logan. Dodging under a sweeping punch, Logan planted an explosive charge on the enforcer's chest and dove behind cover. A controlled detonation sent the armored brute crashing into a bank of servers, sparks flying. As Logan worked through the last layers of encryption, Voss's voice echoed through the speakers. "You can't stop me, Pierce. You're one man against an empire." Logan smirked, inserting a final override command. "Empires fall." With the press of a button, the entire data center erupted in flames, information wiped from existence. Logan barely escaped as the building collapsed behind him, his mission a success. Voss would come for him now. And Logan would be ready. Because this was only the beginning. Title: Operation Shadow Storm. The city of Prague was a labyrinth of history and shadows. Tonight, it was also a battlefield. Special Agent Ryan Carter crouched on a rooftop overlooking the old district, his sniper rifle trained on a target below a man known as Nikolai Petrov, the mastermind behind a series of international cyber attacks. The mission was simple: eliminate Petrov before he could sell encrypted military codes to the highest bidder. Control, I have visual, Ryan whispered into his earpiece. Confirmed, replied his handler, Olivia King. Petrov is about to make the trade. Move in. Ryan steadied his aim. But just as he was about to pull the trigger, a second figure emerged from the shadows, a woman in a sleek black suit. She handed Petrov a briefcase. The exchange was happening now. Ryan recalculated. If he took out Petrov now, he might never recover the codes. He needed a new plan. He abandoned the sniper rifle and descended into the alley, moving like a shadow. The guards patrolling the perimeter never saw him coming. A swift strike to the throat, a silent takedown. He slipped inside the abandoned cathedral where the deal was taking place. The air was thick with tension as Petrov placed his hand on the briefcase's biometric lock. A click. The case opened, revealing a flash drive. Ryan acted. He threw a smoke grenade into the center of the room, plunging the space into chaos. Gunfire erupted. Ryan weaved through the confusion, taking down enemies with brutal efficiency. He reached the table, grabbed the flash drive, and turned only to find himself face to face with the woman in black. She struck first. Fast, precise. A professional. Ryan barely blocked her blade as it sliced through the air. He countered with a powerful elbow to her ribs, but she recovered instantly, spinning into a high kick that sent him stumbling. For the first time in a long while, Ryan found himself evenly matched. "You should have stayed out of this," she said, breathless. Ryan smirked. "Not my style." The fight continued, each move a dance of skill and instinct. Finally, Ryan found an opening. A quick feint, a disarm, and he had the knife to her throat. "Who sent you?" he demanded. She didn't answer. Instead, she smirked and then activated a small device in her wrist. An explosion rocked the cathedral. Ryan was thrown back by the blast, the woman vanishing into the smoke. He coughed, pushing himself up. No time to chase her. He had what he came for. "Control, I have the drive. Extracting now." "Copy that. Evac point is 2 blocks north." As Ryan disappeared into the night, he knew one thing for certain: this mission wasn't over. It was just beginning. Title: Shadow's End. The skyline of Ravenfall was a testament to power, a glittering facade hiding the corruption within. The city was controlled by a single name: Alexander Kane. A billionaire by day, a ruthless crime lord by night, Kane had built an empire on blood and deception. Those who opposed him vanished. Until now, Ethan Cross had spent years in the shadows, watching, waiting. Once a government black ops operative, he had been betrayed, left for dead, and erased from existence. But he had survived. And now, he was back with one objective: to bring Kane's empire crashing down. His first target, Kane's underground weapons facility hidden beneath an abandoned factory. It was the nerve center of his operations, supplying arms to mercenaries and corrupt officials. Taking it out would send a message. Dressed in black tactical gear, Ethan infiltrated the complex under the cover of darkness. The guards never heard him coming. Silent takedowns left them crumpled on the floor before alarms could be raised. Navigating the labyrinth of tunnels, he planted explosives at key structural points. Then, the alarms blared. Security forces flooded the facility, heavily armed and ready for war. Ethan engaged with precision, using the shadows to his advantage. Bullets tore through crates and concrete as he moved like a phantom, eliminating enemies with lethal efficiency. A hulking enforcer wielding a modified minigun stormed into the fray. Ethan knew brute force wouldn't work. He lured the behemoth into a trap, dodging fire before detonating an explosive, sending the enforcer crashing into a steel beam. As Ethan reached the server room, Kane's voice crackled through the speakers. "You really think you can stop me, Cross? You're one man against an empire." Ethan smirked, uploading a virus into the system. Empires burn. With a final keystroke, the virus triggered a cascade failure, corrupting Kane's entire network. The facility erupted in flames as Ethan made his escape, leaping from the roof just as the explosion engulfed the building. Kane would retaliate. He would send everything he had. But Ethan welcomed the war. Because this was only the beginning. Title: The Last Mission. The night was thick with fog as Agent Daniel Pierce moved silently through the streets of Istanbul. His mission was clear: intercept a terrorist group planning to detonate a biochemical weapon in the heart of the city. He had been tracking them for months. Now, it all came down to this moment. Control, I'm in position, Daniel whispered into his earpiece. Copy that, his handler, Sarah Monroe, responded. Intel suggests the target is inside the Grand Bazaar. Be careful, this area is crawling with hostiles. Daniel checked his pistol and suppressed submachine gun before slipping into the shadows. The ancient market was closed at this hour, its corridors eerily silent. He moved with precision, taking down 2 guards at the entrance with swift strikes. The target was close. Inside a dimly lit storage room, the terrorists were finalizing their plan. A countdown timer on a metal case displayed 30 minutes, too little time for reinforcements. This was on him. Daniel didn't hesitate. He launched forward, firing 2 shots, dropping the nearest threats. Chaos erupted. The leader, a man known as Rafiq al-Masri, grabbed the detonator and ran. Daniel pursued. Bullets ricocheted off stone walls as he chased Rafiq through the labyrinthine alleys. They emerged onto a rooftop, the city stretching beneath them. Give it up, Rafiq, Daniel called out, gun trained on the terrorist. Rafiq smirked, holding up the detonator. Too late. Daniel lunged, tackling Rafiq. They fought fiercely, exchanging brutal blows. The detonator slipped from Rafiq's grip, teetering on the edge of the rooftop. A final punch sent Rafiq staggering backward. Daniel grabbed the detonator just in time, disarming the device with seconds to spare. Sirens wailed in the distance. Backup had arrived. As Daniel stood over the unconscious terrorist, he exhaled deeply. Mission accomplished. But he knew this was only one battle in a war that never truly ended.